I even came prepared with a energy drink today.
Wow.
Because I'm zonked.
You haven't had an energy drink in a while.
It's because I don't really like them.
Wow.
I just drink them for
caffeine in your blood.
I need the buzz. I need that buzz, but it's either that or heroin. I mean, come on. This one's cheaper.
And on that note, welcome to podcast number 32. Hello, a croeso I podcast rhif 30. And my name's Gareth Evans. This is Mr. Henry. Give me that caffeine fix Cooper.
Straight in my veins. Go on.
It's the first time in months that you've had any sort of caffeine. You don't drink tea, you don't drink coffee.
No, I don't have anything against tea or
when
coffee.
You first started here, when you first started here, which, by the way, is 1 year ago as of tomorrow. So
as of when you're watching
I'm just watching this. It's 1 year since Henry. So congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. I can just say anniversary because that means 1 year, right?
A little bit wiser, probably not. A little bit fatter, definitely. Well, that's mainly for travelling. It's less my diet. It's more because I'm not standing on my feet all day.
Congratulations. You stuck it out. But, it takes its toll on you. Obviously, today you don't have the motivation. This is why you need an energy drink, which, by the way, you used to drink all the time when you first started, right? You used to come into work
that's
with
because of the early mornings of having to get up at 6:30, and then I just I never liked them. Like I was never one of those energy drink gamers on Mountain Dew all the time.
But they work like caffeine works.
It got the job done. But then I was just like, screw it. I'll just accept being tired, and my body will forgive me.
I couldn't do this without caffeine. Yeah. I really couldn't. My brain function is minimal. Like caffeine is my crutch.
I already feel better, having just had a slug of that.
Placebo kicking in there. I'm sure it's fine. So, welcome to the podcast. And today we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about Anthem's change of post-launch content. They've decided to change it all up. We're discussing that. E3 is going to be rebranding as an influencer media event. That's a juicy news story.
It's as bad as it sounds.
It is as bad as it sounds. Rockstar have their own launcher. Steam have updated the library page on the Steam client. We're going to be discussing all of those, as well as taking questions from the supporters on the Discord, from the Patreon supporters, as well as reading some YouTube comments, including the famous and the highly anticipated Triggered Fanboy comment of the week. And we do have an actual Triggered Fanboy
comment. You've got a good
one. We've got a bunch of them.
Excellent.
We've got a bunch of them.
Well, if you do anything Death Stranding related, you get them both ways. You get them, you're a Kojima hater, blah, 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 blah. And then you just love Kojima because it's got his name on the box. I'm like, dude, just...
Spoiler alert. These are Steam fanboys this week.
Wow.
There's so many of them out there.
Excellent.
Anyway, too much of a spoiler there. Let's jump into the first story, which is Anthem are ditching the original post-launch content and plans to focus on core issues. This is basically the story since launch. The game launched... everything we had planned is out the fucking window. Yeah. We're now focusing on fixing the shit because that's all that's been happening.
Isn't fixing core issues just called game development?
It's called like pre-launch development.
It's just
not post-launch content.
This is us making the game, and now we've charged you for it, so we're gonna make the game.
EA's new mind-bending vision for post-launch content is actually fixing core issues.
To be fair, their marketing people must get paid a lot to come out with this bullshit. They can spin anything.
Anyway, this is where we're at now. So there were questions over the future of Anthem. Like, where would they end up because of all the controversy around the launch? Jason Schreier wrote his big article expose about the development hell of it. Recently Ben Irvin quit, who was a lead developer in the game, just after the first post-launch content, which is the Cataclysm, arrived like a week after or something. One of the lead developers quit, and that Cataclysm was the first post-launch content. It came 3 months late because they were working on fixing the game.
Really, it's all a big meta game in that Anthem itself is the cataclysm of the games industry. It's a calamity.
That's it. It's well put, that, Henry. So the update comes in a blog post dated the 17th of September, which was yesterday as the time of recording. And it says they're making improvements to Anthem based on feedback from the community following the Cataclysm event and players of the test server, the feedback that they provided. They listed a bunch of improvements. I'm not going to, because it's boring, I'm not going to read it out. It's just fucking, going to fix this and fix that. But the crux of the post is as follows, and this comes from Chad, the head of live services on Anthem.
I love people called Chad. I've only ever met one English Chad, and I went to primary school with him. And we were kids at the time, so I didn't really care. But now he's a total Chad, you know.
He's a Chad.
Hi, my name's Chad.
Double down on his Chadness.
Yeah.
Chaddishness.
He's a total Chad. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, this Chad, Anthem's Chad, says, in order to address these long-range plans, we are moving away from the acts structure for updates, which is what they were being used, and that's what the cataclysm was. Instead, we have additional seasonal updates planned for this year that we think players will enjoy. These events will deliver challenges and chases similar to what you've seen and are built around some fun themes we're bringing to the game. So it sounds more like a seasonal Fortnite, Battle Pass, Apex Legends type of thing rather than the Cataclysm was quite unique in terms of post-launch content because it was like a fixed 8-week event that was primarily around multiplayer, and it had like 3 pieces of story missions, there was challenges and stuff, and that's not usually what you get in post-launch content. You get like a big update for the whole base game, and then everyone gets to play it rather than an 8-week long stupid thing that they did. But
I don't think the games as a service model is fundamentally flawed. It's just the way everyone uses it is the worst possible way. Because if you wrote a story which is open-ended and then punch stuff in over time seasonally like the Cataclysm was supposed to be, that could be really compelling and it could keep you coming back like episodes for a TV show every week or whatever, but it'd obviously be a bigger gap. But every time someone does a games as a service, they just botch it. And it's focused way too much on making the most of that opportunity to make money rather than tell an interesting story or make interesting gameplay.
That's true. I think one of the main problems around Anthem is that they just didn't have a fucking clue.
No.
Full stop. I didn't have a clue how the game was going to be received, what state the game was in at launch, because it launched way too early, or it launched in a bad state. I mean, saying this way too early gets people triggered in the comments saying, well, actually, they've been working on it for 5 years. But that's not the point. The point is that the game wasn't ready, so much so that post-launch content got pushed back. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing, so they were just like killing fires, essentially, just fighting fires, whereas they should have been proactive and been able to work on the post-launch content, which they couldn't do. Yeah,
you can't start post-launch content until you've got launch content.
You've got the game right. But more in just a second. The quote continues from Chad. We want to be transparent with you that we know more work needs to be done to make Anthem better. No shit, Sherlock. We also want to ensure we're backing up our words with a great game you can play. So far, you've failed to back up any words regarding post-launch content. Your Cataclysm was 3 months late, and then everything you've promised after that is out the window now. So congratulations for disproving exactly what you're trying to prove.
Oh yeah, on this great game you can play. Jesus Christ.
So I don't have any news today to share about the long-term changes we are bringing to Anthem. What I can say is we will continue to engage with you, our community, through the public test server when we can show you what is coming. So basically, we have news that we're changing the post-launch content, but we don't have news as to what's replacing it. You're out in the cold, exactly like they were when they delayed the original Cataclysm event. They said, it's gonna on hold for a few months. We don't know when. I'm not going to tell you what's in it. We're not going to tell you when it's going to come.
But we're being transparent.
But we're being transparent and saying we haven't got a fucking clue what's going on. That is essentially what they're saying. Yeah. He doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on, but what he does know is that they're no longer bringing the acts as a post-launch content. It's now more like a battle what do they call it? The seasonal updates now.
It is like 5 minutes away from going free to play, realistically. They must be considering it.
They haven't even got a fucking full game yet, a proper fixed up game.
So free to play, it's like, there's enough content here for people to play it for free.
I know, maybe I'm being a little bit unfair. Maybe the game is in a playable state now. You would expect it would be in a playable state at day one, but no, this is the modern gaming industry, and this is EA we're talking about here. So very vague on the details. Nobody knows what the fuck is happening now. They just drop in some random generic words like seasonal and expecting the player base to trust them and stick around. Have they earned trust? Have they earned the player base?
I mean, you've got to come through on something like in the first place to establish the trust of your player base. You know, you got to prove that you can do it. Exactly,
and how many times must they let people down before they lose faith? I mean, this is every single time, and you know it. I mean, we could be accused of piling on with Anthem, but still, I mean, it's about principles. It's about delivering what you promised. And this is my big question, right? You pay for a game as a service, and you know going in, the amount of post-launch content is going to be part of the price that you pay. You pay $60. Part of that is for servicing the post-launch content. Part of that is what they're going to bring after launch, right? Everything that Anthem promised has been either delayed or thrown out now. Right, so the original players, are they not responsible? Are they not accountable for what the original promises that they made prior to launch? They should be, right? Yeah. And the people who bought the game on the promise of everything that was coming, which is kind of either delayed or out the window now, like what recourse have they got? I mean, they're not delivering what they promised.
There must be some people who are still enjoying it, and good for you, like if you are, because when I played it, the flying was super fun. Not much else in my opinion, but if you're having fun, awesome.
More power to you.
Yeah, more power to you, buddy.
Buddy. You have to throw the buddy in there,
I've got to be
more power to you, buddy.
Oh, honey.
Chad. More power to you,
Chad. But, like, if there are any actual regular Anthem players, because apparently they do exist, although at this point it's like seeing a unicorn, are you still loyal? Like, are you actually expecting things to get better, or are you just kind of content, like with the way things are? Like, I've accepted the quality, and I'm not losing anything anymore.
Well, that's it. I mean, they've already paid for the game. They're just getting additional value beyond, what they've paid now. It's like, all right, it's a shit show. We've paid lots of money for it. We might as well make the most of it and play it for whatever fun we get out of it now.
And I had a brief chat about this on Discord. Like, even though it is shit by all accounts, loads of people say, oh yeah, but if you get a team together, like 4 mates, and all just fly around as the different classes, it's fun.
Really
because
fun.
So
you can imagine any game is really fun.
There's fun to be had anywhere
with multiplayer. So I mean, the takeaway for me is that this game is so much like early access. It's almost parallel with everything that happens in an early access game, where even the scope of the game can get changed. This is the biggest company, or one of the biggest companies, and I'm not sure if it is the actual biggest, but EA, huge company, right? They should know what the fuck they're doing, and it just goes to show, buyer beware when it comes to games as a service. Not even EA can guarantee what's going to come after launch of a game, because that's the way that the industry is now, that you never know the game's even going to be ready, never mind what the hell's going to come after launch. So just beware, guys. Never buy a game as a service on day one would be my advice. I would never say that definite to everybody, because people have got their allegiances and they've got developers that they trust, and they do pre-order for them reasons sometimes. So in general, and just don't buy a service-based game on day one, because for one, you're not getting the best gameplay experience, because Borderlands 3 is a good example. A lot of issues regarding performance on consoles and shit like that, and it takes a few weeks for them to fix it all up and shit. So
but people are saying it is a fun game when you don't have the issues. So if you just wait it out a bit for the issues to get fixed, then you can just have the fun.
Yeah.
So
there we go. That is it. Just the nugget of Anthem and the future of that. It's not to say that it won't be shut down. There's a very good chance, based on how vague they're being, that they don't have a fucking clue what they're going to be releasing in a few months' time.
We're like 7 months into its life cycle that was meant to last for 10 years? And what do they have to show for it? I do feel sorry for some of the people over there who are just grinding away, trying to make ends meet. Dreams of being a developer. Oh, go work at BioWare. Amazing. Perfect job. And now they're just stuck in the meat grinder of that situation.
Yeah.
I do feel for them. But at the same time, just leave. If it's that bad, you can just leave.
Yeah, I don't know. If so many players leave and then don't come back until there's more content, it's a double-edged. It's just the bad. It'll just degrade so much that not enough players. They won't even launch the post-launch content.
Yeah.
They won't even carry on if you leave completely. So, in order to support the game, you have to play it. But I don't know, you just feel like you're getting the piss taken out of you. But I mean, I personally feel like give it 12 months and they'll announce, right, this
game over.
Game over.
Yeah.
Because they've even added it to the EA Pass.
Oh yeah,
the subscription service that EA do. They've added it to that. So there you go.
It's definitely on the way out. But moving from one corporate flat paragraph thing to a corporate flat PowerPoint presentation. So this was leaked to, I believe it was Game Daily Biz. Somehow they got their hands on it, and it's what they call a pitch deck, I think it's called, which is something I've never heard of. It's essentially like a PowerPoint presentation for investors. It's an internal thing that's not really meant to be shown to the general public. And it's from the ESA about their planned changes for E3. And everyone knows what E3 is. Huge gaming event. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, ESA are the ones who run it, right?
Yeah.
They are like the lobby group representing the industry, like a huge industry figures make up the ESA, and they organise E3.
Yeah, and the ESA fucking love money. So let me just throw that out there.
It's the games
straight away.
It's big corporations in the games industry.
Yeah.
They all fucking love it.
So the ESA, who are the Entertainment Software Association, have proposed rebranding E3 with a focus on media influencers and as a festival-like experience. Now, if that doesn't make you a little bit sick, you might need to get your head examined.
A festival for influencers.
It's horrendous. So it's a leaked 27-slide PowerPoint presentation.
Easy for you to say.
Detailing their plans for the event, and it's full of like corporate speak bullshit. And they say the word engagement 9 times. They say the words brand or branding 9 times. There's a word called Q-tertainment, which I'd never freaking heard. It's really quite difficult to read because there's a lot of E's for it. Q-entertainment or whatever. So that's Q entertainment.
Q entertainment.
And they say that it's like Disneyland when you're standing in the queue. So there's entertaining things when you're waiting for 3 hours to have 45 seconds of fun.
Yeah. I like the idea of that. There was like a quiz or something where we were waiting in Disneyland. What was the name? It was I don't remember the name of the park now, but there was like a quiz that you could participate on your app while you were in the queue. It was the Star Wars one. It was one of the Star Wars rides in Epcot. And I was top of the leaderboard on
the Star Wars quiz.
Yeah, I think it was like there was a quiz. It wasn't a Star Wars quiz.
Who was the pilot of the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a Star Wars quiz. It was a Star Wars ride, but there was a quiz. I think it was. I might be mixing up. It was a geography quiz or something. It might be a different ride. And I luckily it was a multiple choice question, and I luckily guessed about 4 or 5 in a row, and I was at the top of the leaderboard just as we were going past it onto the ride. So they called out my designation. My name wasn't in there. It was just like a number, like this guy is winning, and I was like, yeah, and then everyone was like, oh, who gives a fuck?
Just get me on the ride.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
but I don't mind the idea of that.
Q entertainment doesn't sound.
It makes the queue go down. It's a fucking awful word, but it makes the queue go down a lot quicker.
But
not literally, just
you're passing the time, and at an event like E3, you're going to be on your feet for a long time. You're going to play about 3 or 4 games while you're there because you're going to spend most of your time queuing, and even then, that's quite a ambitious amount of games to try and play. But the bit that got me about this line is it will enable marketing to attendees in line. So it's not. None of this is worded to make things better for the attendee, and especially when they're called consumers left, right, and centre, because they will consume what we're giving them. We're feeding them, and
it's an opportunity. It's just an opportunity to push products on people.
Literally, So I hate everything about this presentation.
Wow.
I mean, it's really fun to read because it's almost like a parody or something you'd see like in an old 80s or 90s sci-fi movie, the hyper-corporate world.
I had to double check that this was real because it was gamesdaily.biz, and I was reading it thinking, this sounds bullshit to me. This sounds absolute bullshit. But I Googled it, and then Eurogamer reported it, but although they were referring to the Games Daily exclusive thing, Games Biz, whatever it is, Games Daily Biz, it's like, well, if Eurogamer are reporting on it, you know, we don't look so bad with egg on our faces if it turns out to be a scam. Because, I mean, who knows? This might be bullshit for all we know right now. It could be. It sounds like it because
it's so horrendous.
It just sounds like a meme that they're trying to sell games to you or trying to push a game on you while you're in the queue for another game.
It just makes me think of The Truman Show, because when he's finally waking up to the world, he's explaining his feelings to his pretend wife. And she's like, why don't you have some coffee? I've tried other coffees. This is the best. It's like a corporate product placement everywhere. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is my life.
Yeah.
So there's the first of like the main PowerPoint slides is called E3 Vision. E3 will be a fan, media, and influencer festival. Makes me want to kill myself. It will mark both the beginning of the news and announcement cycle for the year and be a convening point for the biggest fans, top video game companies, leading news outlets and analysts, and social media influencers, celebrities, and athletes. Who the hell is this for? Who wants this? Like,
well, I mean,
I hate the term influencer anyway. Even if we are considered them, it makes it even worse.
Well, the term itself, it just denotes how useful, what use we are to them as a corporation. That's it. Like we are an influencer because we can influence people on their behalf.
Yeah,
that's all it means. It means it's a big corporation wants to put a tag on us so that we're useful in the terms that we can influence people. And the whole term itself is problematic because it feels like seedy, like you're having some sort of psychological effect on people.
Sounds like a Jedi mind trick to me, just because it's not overt. It's not, you're
influencing people.
Yeah, it's a step up from trendsetters or anything like that, or
it's like psychological warfare on people. You're going to influence your mind without you knowing about it.
Spooky stuff. But my first thought about this was, a bunch of media influencers, celebrities, and athletes. Well, that's just even more people for the ESA to dox. Hey, Diggs.
Yeah.
In case you don't remember about that one, the ESA managed to leak the information of thousands of journalists and industry figures who were at the event, and it was just all of their information.
Yeah, names, addresses, phone numbers, and other details of around 2,000 attendees that they leaked. And it wasn't even leaked, right? It was just on the website.
Not hidden.
Available for people. Anyone who had the link could go there, and just anyone who'd attended that event that year, it was just like in an Excel spreadsheet, like the names, addresses, and it's like, oh my fucking God, it was unbelievable. It wasn't even leaked.
Yeah, leaked as
it was just there.
Yeah. And it was for loads of people, like big media outlets like your IGNs or your Game Informers, whatever, but also independent YouTubers, like Skill Up stuff was leaked, Yong stuff was leaked. It's ridiculous.
Anyone who attended,
you were fucked. So if you're I don't know, LeBron James there to play 2K21, bad luck. You're going to get it leaked and doxed. So E3 has been struggling for years to keep up with the modern industry, and part of the problem, in my opinion, is that it went public in 2017, but I'll kind of circle back to that. But for just the last 2 years' numbers, in 2018 it had 69,200 attendees, which sounds like a whole lot, but in the grand scheme of things, compared to other conventions, it's not even that much. But then this year, it was about 3,000 less, and it was 66,100 attendees.
Yeah. Well, people have been pulling out, like Sony have not done a showcase or anything, not attended the event, so all those like PlayStation fans just didn't end up going because
it's just
what's
not
the
relevant
point going
if
and that's I think that's the trend over the years, is that more and more these big publishers are doing their own thing, like doing like a live stream, like Nintendo might be doing.
You don't have to pay for a convention space. You can just put together a demo and just stream half an hour of a little thing, and this Nintendo's system with the Nintendo Direct's is spot on.
Yeah,
like it's
really good.
Yeah, moving with the times. So yeah, it used to be an industry-only thing until 2017, and then they opened it up to the public, and that's where I feel like things start to go more wrong. And even then, it sounds a bit dramatic. But I don't know, like, that's when it really became like a marketing thing of like promos and logos and everything's a brand, and like here we sell, and less of a celebration of new games and new tech, because it's not just gaming, it's the electronic entertainment expo, it's everything to do with that. But they usually give out 15,000 public passes, and then everything else is for industry people, journalists and tech people and devs and whatnot. But the plan is that this is going to be raised to 25,000 by the 2020 E3 when it becomes this social media event. But it's still going to be held at the same venue. So you've got an extra 10,000 people for an already really crowded event.
Yeah, sounds like a nightmare to me.
Where are you putting everyone? Like, what are you going to do? But part of that is they're changing their floor plan, which is going to be essentially a circular-like format. Because normally it's a room with different booths and kind of kiosks scattered about, and you can kind of make your own way. There's a new plan to have it as like a circle thing with these experience pods dotted around.
What?
It's ridiculous. I'll try and throw a picture up so you can see it. It's so fluffy and just like, we're going to give you an experience. Here's your Halo 7 gameplay demonstration, but here there's Johnny 156 Halo kill from Mixer telling you all about it with his little live stream, and you can be in a vlog with him.
Wow.
It makes me so uncomfortable to look at.
It's almost like they're relinquishing their power to sell stuff and saying instead, well, we can no longer get people excited about games. Let's get all these influencers in, pay these guys shitloads of money
to tell people what to be excited about.
It's like we don't trust them anymore, and we only trust the people who create content now. That's the way they're thinking, which is pretty spot on, right?
Yep. Well, like they even mentioned about how
don't trust them fuckers.
They even mentioned how they want to connect with talent agencies to get these influencers and streamers and stuff who are represented as if they were actors or something like that. And how we don't just want to get them for the one-time thing because that's really expensive. So we're going to form a proper partnership with annual rollouts of different events we're all going to go to and do different stuff. I'm like, the fuck, what are you doing? Who is this for? Who wants this? But there's another line in the heading called E3 is changing. We're planning to pivot to an event focused on core gamers, online influencers, celebrities, and media, with an emphasis on high-flow game pavilions, new programming, and branded, curated experiences centered on a theme. It's one long sentence with a lot of bullshit words, but core gamers, okay, we're all core gamers. That's good. I like an event for me. Full of online influencers and celebrities. That's a total paradox because they're not core gamers. Even if you get a handful who really are passionate about games, they, by their very nature as a celebrity, aren't representative of your average gamer because they are a celebrity, right?
But if they say something good about a game, they'll get you to buy it.
They sure will.
That's the point, right?
Like, hey, look, Tom Cruise is playing FIFA. I'm going to buy it now. Like, what? Can you imagine if they got someone like him?
Tom Cruise, man. Fucking hell.
He would be really fun because he's really kind of weird and excitable in interviews, isn't he? So I think he'd be actually a really good pick if they could afford him.
Well, they bring some entertainment to the entertainment.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
Entertainment Expo.
So back on the floor plan thing, there's a quote saying, "These on-floor activations will be themed and branded, providing exhibitors an opportunity to sponsor and underwrite major cultural moments." So everything that happened is going to be brought to you by ABC's The Walking Dead, AMC's The Walking Dead, or whatever. HBO, little thing along the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just the worst.
Providing exhibitors an opportunity to sponsor. So you're providing the exhibitors to give us money for endorsements by these influencers that we're going to invite, essentially, because we can no longer get people excited for these brands for you. Fuck, you know. We're
going to charge you to come visit the event because we're putting it on for you because we're such heroes.
Yeah.
And then everyone's going to pay us to slap their logo on top of it. Some of my favourite little little expressions or catchphrases from this thing that they repeat a lot is driving excitement and social media influencer engagement, celebrity engagement program, and quentertainment to allow for line engagement. No one is engaged in a line. You're waiting in line to get to the thing you want to be engaged with.
Just reduce the size of the lines. Just reduce the amount of people going. Obviously, they're adding an extra 40% to. It's even more than that. 60%. Public capacity, and so the queue's going to be that much bigger. I know we'll entertain them with all of our products that we've got,
because they're going to be in the queue for so much longer because there's so many more people. I
wonder if they charge a premium queue like they do in these theme parks where you buy a premium fast pass ticket to get to the front of the queue. They should be doing that, is what they should be doing. They do it in these fucking
and you just parks. Get into a queue for the new queue, like a shorter queue, but there's still 100 people in it, but it's the fast queue, quote unquote fast.
The way they do it these days.
Well, they do have a bit about the better attendee experience, and this is full of normal fluff, but my favourite bit is under the E3 digital ticket. E3 will sell a game demo bundle to fans who want to experience the games shown on the show floor. That's so much better, because we're going to charge you for the thing that used to be free. You go to E3, you play a handful of games, but now you can pay and get this bundle, which probably means you can skip the lines.
Yeah, that is the fast pass.
Literally, right?
Is that a fast pass?
You pay and you can play everything. You don't have to queue. You can play every game.
Oh my god,
it's obscene. But one of my favourite bits that a lot of people keep pulling out of it is a heading called "The Power of Social Good," which sounds it's very hippy dippy, yuppie kind of thing going on, which is nice. It's all positive. Research shows that millennials and Gen Z are the most giving back and social good generations ever. By amplifying E3's social good brand, we can advance the industry's brand with consumers while storing positive chits for future use. So,
what does that mean?
With their emphasis on brands, they're bringing brands in to make themselves into a brand. So E3 as a brand, and games industry is a brand now. Cashing in, storing up chits for future use, that's getting a load of goodwill. Look, Ninja's over here doing a charity stream live in the LA Convention Center here at E3. It's going to be really good. Forget about the bad loot box stuff we've been doing. Look! Oh no, he's doing another charity thing. Oh look, Tifu's not said something racist this time.
Yeah, or is it PewDiePie's here and let's he's raising money for charity. Let's forget about the times he all the controversies in the past, because he's earned these chits.
Yeah, these chits.
Positive chits. I fucking hate this business speak, man.
I cannot stand it.
So bad.
Well, so E3 it's been going downhill for a while, and everyone kind of feels that. And I still enjoyed this year's E3 because it's a time when you can just be positive about a lot of games in a solid. Well, the event's a week or whatever, but it's a whole couple months around that. It's we can be excited about this. We can be excited about this.
It's great.
That looks shit, but we can be excited about this.
It's great for us as creators on YouTube, we cover the news and stuff, because loads of news comes out from E3, and it's exciting time, because sometimes news is slow.
Yeah,
E3, it's never slow. There's always something to talk about. So we're not of the same mindset as the general public. The general public might just have seen all the trailers at E3 this year and thought, "This fuck all gameplay. They're all bullshit trailers. It's all nonsense. It's not showing us any gameplay. We don't know anything more about these games. They're just marketing campaigns essentially." And I get that, but for us, it's an exciting time.
Yeah, exactly.
So screw you.
Your opinion is invalid now. Yeah. But E3's totally going down, and I feel like Jeff Keighley's really pushing for the Game Awards to be the next staple event in certainly the American gaming calendar, and kind of pivoting everything to focus on that, which I think is a good thing. I think Jeff Keighley's a great face for the games industry, and it's a really good idea to have one host and then bringing on the other people to give out the awards and whatnot. But him being, at the core of it, I think that's a great idea, and hopefully that will be the way things go, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, this year's December the 7th is the Game Awards, the ceremony.
Yeah,
and it's always a good time. Is the Game Awards.
So if you just over the next couple of years, you pad it out to be an E3 like event with playable demos and stage events and people coming on talking about their games, and then you wrap it all up with the Game Awards at the end. I think that would be a really good way to do it. And he seems to have his head screwed on right, because he's good at the corporate stuff and mingling with all of the different publishers and stuff, but he's a total nerd. He's a total, he gets geeky and he gets giddy about the video games because he's obviously passionate about it, which I like to see.
Yeah, I'd take Jeff Keighley as a producer over the ESA.
Certainly, 100%. And then we'll just get loads of Kojima nonsense, which I'm all about. I'm totally there for it.
Again, we might not like the game, might not be excited for the game, but boy, does it make for good videos.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I don't even know if I would say I am excited for Death Stranding, but I do love Kojima. He's a fucking narcissist and he's crazy, but I love him.
He's a character.
Yeah, exactly. He's a tangible personality, and yeah, totally. But yeah, as I said, E3 is by no means the biggest gaming convention out there. Industry analyst Daniel Ahmad, who is very prevalent on Twitter, posting a lot of statistics and whatnot. He posted a tweet with a list of different game conventions around the world from this year and last year, because some haven't had this year's event yet, compared with E3 this year. So Gamescom 2019 is the biggest, which just went in August. 373,000. Huge.
6 times bigger than E3,
right? China Joy 2019 at 365k. Brazil Game Show 2018 with 325k. Taipei Game Show in 2019 with 320k. Paris Games Week, which is in October, I think, so that's coming up soon. From 2018 is 316k. Tokyo Game Show, which also just went, is 262k. And then G-Star Korea 2018 is 235k. And then compare that with E3 2019, which was just 66k, not 366.
Dwarfs.
Just 66.
They dwarf E3, don't they? Yeah. Is that the way of saying
they
it?
dwarf it. So
that's how insignificant E3 is in terms of people who go. And
I feel like we've kind of, as a gaming community or whatever, we've kind of talked up E3 to be bigger than it is in terms of attendance and whatnot, but I think it's big cultural impact.
Yeah, it's big for the industry rather than the public.
Yeah, and that's kind of where, as I said, touched on earlier, where it went wrong. It's not even wrong. Again, it's a bit dramatic, but keeping it industry focused and less of a marketing thing, I think, would have been the right way to go, because you've still got all of these other events to be the hands-on, front-facing stuff with players in the building playing games. I think keeping E3 more technically focused, you can have all your trailers and whatnot, and that also lends itself to having gameplay, because it's showing off the technical side, being like, look at this interesting mechanic, rather than just, it's an explosion and we're going to have a weird Gears 5 trailer with whatever that Billie Eilish song is, where her face is going all weird. Weird trailer that was. It's like some undergrad student's media project or something. But the question is, this could all save E3 as a business. It won't necessarily make it good or bad, but it could save it as an entity, or make it a whole lot worse, which I think is more likely. But do you really care if it stops? Would you miss it if it disappeared? I think I probably would.
Personally, because we run this channel, and without it, we'd have less content, essentially. I don't know how the public feels. Maybe you let us know in the comments. But it is a way of kind of rejuvenating interest in E3, because it's been waning over the years, or recently especially. It's like how is it going to... It raises a lot of questions, and it generates a lot of interest. How is it going to pan out this year? How is it going to... people are interested now. It's right, they're changing it. What are they doing? And they're interested to see whether it's going to be a car crash. Yeah. More than anything. And
everyone knows you can't look away from a car crash. Yeah. So you got
to keep watching. I mean, it might fail, but then again, it might just hook onto something. The idea is that influencers and social media celebrities, or game influencers, game players on YouTube and whatever, on Twitch and that, celebrities, they've got so much more of a role to play in the modern gaming industry than they used to. And if they can harness the power of these kind of celebrities or influencers or whatever, in order to bring in interest and people to E3 and generate that hype and excitement around it, then that's what they're doing. It's an interesting strategy, I'll give it that. It's an interesting strategy, and it's rolling with the modern gaming industry. Whether it'll pan out, whether it'll work, the thing is with influencers is that there are so many of them, and they're all vying for attention.
Yeah.
Every one of these fuckers wants attention, wants money, wants to promote this, wants to do that, wants a free plane ticket, wants to attend this convention, wants a goodie bag of free shit. Every single one of them are crying out for that shit, right? So even if they don't get the biggest hitters, there's another 5 there waiting in the wings, wanting to fulfill the role and wanting to jump in and do something with E3.
Yeah.
So I can't see them having a problem with getting these influencers on board. And then each of them, they've all got X amount of millions of followers, and then their endorsement things, and they're playing games and introducing games and stuff like that. I can see this working. I really can.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it, because it's influencer focused, so the influencers are going to love it. People like your ninjas of the world are going to be really into it. But the question is, from a perspective of an influencer fan, what do you think about it? If you follow the likes of Ninja, or PewDiePie's a bit different because he's kind of in his own world, but because I don't follow any of these people, I follow a handful of YouTubers, and even then they're not like influencers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're called that, but it's not in the same way. Certainly not in like on Instagram posing with, G Fuel or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you are one of those people, I'd love to know like what you think about that. Would you give a shit if you're one of Ninja's thousands and thousands of followers? Would you go to this event if he's there?
Yeah. The thing is, our demographic is going to be a lot older than the regular demographic for a Ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
Demographic, whatever.
Exactly.
If Ninja's at an event, he did like the New Year's Eve show or something. It was pissing down raining, and it was so
funny. He's trying to teach the crowd to floss, and they're just not up for it at all. They do
was
not
it New
care.
York or something? He was at
Times Square.
Oh my god, that was a shit show. But again, like, these influencers are lapping it up. They just want all the attention, and it will happen. And all the followers will follow them and get interested in games that they talk about and shit. That's just how they do it. That's the industry these days.
And I'm not trying to say all influencers are bad. I think Ninja does do some good work, a lot of good charity stuff, and he seems like a much nicer person than a lot of them. But so many of them are just taking their moment in the sun and taking it hard. I've got about a year of relevancy, and I'm going to cash it. I'm going to get
how long do you think we've got left? We've got like, how long have we got left? I mean, you've been here a year now. Yeah, that's it. Game over.
It's a year too long in some people's opinions, I reckon. Yeah, they're going to... What was their expression? Cash... storing positive chits. That's what they're going to do. Store up some chits, and then cash chits out when they say a word that isn't very nice on Twitter, and then they get cancelled.
Get away with it. Yeah.
So there you go.
So we've had Chad, we've had chit. We're moving on to another word that doesn't rhyme with either of those: Steam update and Rockstar launcher. So Steam has had a new client update, although it is in beta currently. But it is open beta, so you can all test it right now. You just got to go to your settings, go to beta, and then drop down to the open beta. And what it does, it overhauls the library in the state. It's not going to give you a new Steam store page. It all looks exactly the same. I was like refreshing it and like closing Steam down because I didn't realize it was just the library.
Yeah.
I was like, everyone's saying there's a new Steam. It's not working. It's not working. I must have like restarted my computer a couple of times and restarted. Yeah, it's just the library. It's just the library. So it's exciting. It looks good. It is good. But it's not everything. Like the Steam store page does need an overhaul next because the library is just so much better than it now. It looks so much better. So what is it like for, like, I've tried it and I've had a look at it hands on with it a bit. Pretty much everything else is the same, like I said, in the store. The library now has a home button, so it's like one place for everything in your library. So along the top, it'll say recent updates from all the games that you've got, and all like the development updates and new patches and stuff for games. I'll just scroll along the top, and you just scroll through all the games that I've got recent updates, which is nice. It's right there on the homepage, which is really cool. You've also got recent activity, friends activity, custom shelves, which are collections of game collections that you've put together all on the same place, and it looks a lot better. The layout is amazing. is amazing compared to what it was, that's for sure. Because previously it was just like a bunch of links along to the right with like community and like friends and all that sort of shit, and just like install the game, and it just didn't look nice at all. But props to them for making it.
What I like about this is that Epic Games Store gets so much heat for having like fundamentally inferior store, which like there's no arguing that. And then Steam's like, yeah, we've already got the better store, so we're going to make it even better, even in a fairly minor way of just tidying everything up. It's just you're doing shit with your store, so we're just going to prove that we have the better store in terms of features and whatnot.
So each game has a new layout now. So each game in your library, not the store page of the game. So the store pages are the same. So you go to a game in the store, exactly the same. But if you go to your library and then click on the game, it's got a whole new layout. So you've got achievement screenshots, you've got the trading cards. It brings everything together from the developer, your friends, and the community on the page right there, rather than, like I said, all the links that used to be on the right-hand side. And it's a more colourful layout. There's more pictures there. It's more pleasing on the eye, and it's good. People saying on Reddit especially that they don't want to see all the community stuff there. They'd rather just like ignore all that and just have like everything else there, because they're not bothered about community stuff or even their friends, and they'd like the option to just toggle that on and off, which would be an improvement. It's just a suggestion that they put on Reddit. And then also you've got the biggest features, I guess, or the best ones for me, which is like this. Right next to the search bar, you've got filters now, so you can filter your library into single-player games, multiplayer games, co-op games. So if you're looking for a multiplayer game, you can just like filter them, all the other games out. Filter them as to whether they've got controller support, partial support, or no support. You can filter them via genre. Obviously you can add all these filters on top of one another, what genre of game, whether it's installed or not, and then after you've applied 3 or 4 filters, you can then add your remaining games, everything that's left without not been filtered out, into a dynamic collection. So you can add them into add all your multiplayer action RPG games into one collection, so that whenever you open your library, you can just click your multiplayer RPG and they're all there. You can just make that a collection straight away.
Nice.
Now, collection is just like
it's just like a folder, right?
It's just a group of games that you've designated you want to put together, and obviously they did have collections in the past, but it's better functionality now. You can drag and drop them into a collection. So if you click a collection, make a new collection, you can name it, and then you can just click any game in your library and drag it into the collection, and then it's there. It's really easy to use.
Do you know if you can put the same game in multiple collections?
You can put multiple games in multiple collections. However, once you drag one out of your main list into a collection, it's no longer in your main list.
Okay,
but it is in your collection. But you can put that game in multiple collections.
So if I'm looking for a sci-fi shooter, and then this one is a sci-fi shooter that also has zombies, it could fit into the sci-fi shooter and zombie categories.
I specifically checked that, because yes, it does. You can do it you can put games in multiple collections, so it's a lot easier to use. The layout's great and the functionality is great. What they need to do is apply that to the rest of the store and everything else, because the library now is finally looking in top shape. I really like the look of it, and it's great. The question is, obviously GOG is hot on the heels of Steam, although it doesn't have anything like the user base, but GOG has rolled out this like beta version which collates all your games from all the launchers in one place. Is this a sort of reaction from Steam? Is this they're trying to keep people interested in their store, because other people might be going to the likes of Epic or even GOG or even other places?
I think it's definitely got to be at least partially, because they're still in the lead by, I'd say, quite a considerable margin anyway. But people are going to the Epic store. We saw how much how good the sales were for Borderlands 3 on the Epic Store. Way better than Borderlands 2, according to Randy Pitchford's tweets. I mean, that's not...
Can't fucking believe him, though, can you?
No, exactly. It's coming out from his fucking mouth. I was explaining this to
someone's going to be suing him about the lies and that soon.
I was explaining this to a couple of my mates yesterday. I was like, Borderlands is not my sort of game. I just don't really have any interest in it. But my God, I love being a spectator for everything going on around it. It's brilliant. I just lost my train of thought after that little tangent. Yeah, so other platforms are certainly coming up. So it's just a little bit of them being like, okay, we'll accelerate a little bit.
Yeah, they have to. They have to keep putting the effort in. That's for sure. Because if anything, if this is a response from all the competition right now, that's great, because that's what the competition breeds.
Yes, exactly.
It's good service and good competition from Steam. So let's hope that continues. And we've also got news that Rockstar have also announced and launched their own launcher, PC games launcher on PC.
Oh boy.
Specifically for Rockstar games. Now, as if we didn't have enough launchers as it was, announced yesterday, this is what they said on the page. The Rockstar Games launcher comes with a host of features, including the addition of cloud save. Well, there you go.
That's revolutionary.
Cloud save functionality to all supported titles. The ability to keep your Rockstar Games PC library updated automatically, which Steam already does anyway. So, is that even a selling point? No, it's not. And ways to follow all the latest Rockstar Games news from directly inside the launcher.
The latest Rockstar game is when you get one every 5 years.
Steam does that. Does that. It's not like Steam doesn't do that. For a limited time, install the Rockstar Games launcher and claim a free copy of the classic Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on PC within the Rockstar Games launcher.
Game that came out 15 years ago.
15-year-old,
I think.
15-year-old game.
When did it come out?
Brilliant.
Andreas, let's have a look. Is it going to come up? It's the bloody movie. Hang on. GTA San Andreas, where are we? 2004. Oh, boom, 15 years ago.
15 years ago. There you go, 15-year-old game if you install the launcher. As if we didn't have enough launchers as it was. We do not need another one, that's for sure.
But why Rockstar Games? Because that'll be every Rockstar property from all of the different Rockstar studios. Your GTA and your Red Dead and Bully. But it's not that many. If it's like a publisher, who published them? Was it Take-Two?
Yeah.
Take-Two. If it was a Take-Two store, I could understand it a lot more, because they could have so many titles. But there's going to be like 10 items on this launcher.
Well, you'd be surprised. I was recently, when I was going on holiday to Sardinia recently, I was looking for games on my mobile to play on the plane. And I actually bought and installed GTA Vice City. And I took my my Xbox controller with me on holiday so that I could play there with my... Because mobile version of the game is pretty damn good. Like, it runs the game pretty well. I was playing it with my... And there was like at least 12 games that I could buy, like old Rockstar classic games. I'm sure of it. Like all the old GTAs.
As a place for older titles, I guess that's a bit better. But they because they spend so long on each game, they spend so much time putting like so much detail in and so much content. I mean, Red Dead 2 is enormous.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's much draw for it. I don't know, unless you're wanting the older titles.
Speaking of Red Dead 2, the first thought I had when they said there's a launcher
coming out on PC,
it was like, well, if they ever need to promote this launcher, all they have to do is launch Red Dead 2 and make it a launcher exclusive, and they'd get people installing that shit. Yeah. I was like, bring me Red Dead 2 and then we'll talk. Then I might install your fucking launcher. But it just makes you wonder. There's no news of a PC version of Red Dead 2 officially, although there are leaked sources where people's
like
LinkedIn
rated in different places and stuff.
People's LinkedIn worked on the PC version of Red Dead 2. So it is suspected to be in development, and I wonder how much of the delay or how much of them not talking about it, even if it is, when we're supposing it is in development, is all about them trying to push out this launcher first and then using the Red Dead 2 launch as an attraction.
100%. They probably hadn't even considered doing the launcher until after they had started work on the PC port. It's like, all right, we'll bring it to PC, we'll get a load of money from it. wait a minute, Epic, they've got their exclusive store. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And the question is, Epic don't just have Epic games on there.
Yeah.
So that's where the exclusivity problem is particularly present. Like, it's a big argument everyone has all the time. I feel like with the Rockstar store, if they're bringing their properties and taking them off Steam, they own them. They can do what they want with it.
It's exactly what Ubisoft have done.
Yeah, with was it Uplay? Is that their one?
Yeah, they got Uplay now, and Assassin's Creed's I think are now exclusive to the Uplay store. Or I don't know. I think they're the ones that do put it on Steam, but EA certainly don't. They've got their own like launcher, and they've completely come off Steam now. Have EA and Activision have too. But it's again another one of these big publishers or big game developers who are putting their own launcher out there, because when they sell on their own launcher, they're making 100% of the money and not just 70%.
Yeah.
Because Steam take their 30% cut, and it makes sense. It makes sense if everyone else is doing it. It's just inconvenient for bloody players, isn't it? And don't need another launcher.
And you don't have to pay for it, which is fine. But again, the hassle of having to open yet another one is going to be a real pain.
Or link another one to your GOG.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If GOG is supporting it, then that problem is moot. It's obsolete.
As soon as it's supported, it's on my GOG library. That's for sure.
You don't even have to look at that big, ugly interface.
It's still in beta.
Social
it's
club
still in beta.
bullshit.
All they have to do is make it look better. The GOG thing. Its functionality is there. It just needs to look better, I think. But there you go. Those is the stories covered for today. We'll be back in just a second with the second part of the show. And welcome back to the second part of this podcast. We've just had like an hour interlude, and you didn't even notice that we went off and had some food, and we're all refreshed now. How quick were we?
It's movie magic.
It's magic.
Unless, of course, you're listening and you haven't noticed anything because you're just in the car, on the train.
Taking our hoodies off and everything. No, it's all change here. But next, we have the Discord questions, which are put to us by our Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. Big thanks to everybody who does take the time and puts the effort in to support us over on Patreon every single month to help us continue operating as a channel, without which we just wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here without the patrons. So you have my undying, eternal gratitude for that. So in return for your patronage, your support, you get access to the Patreon Discord, where you can chat with us and like-minded individuals about gaming and all sorts of stuff, random stuff sometimes. Also, you get access to this podcast 2 days early. So there's a nice little benefit for you there. So let's jump in with the first question. I think I should take this one.
Is that so that I can then take the long one immediately after it? Is that your tactical play?
That works out well for me. Venticus Prime at Gaza Henry. Would you rather be a happy moron or a disgruntled intellectual? Have fun. It's like have fun, and he just walks away from that.
Yeah, here's this hornet's nest I just kicked, and now I'm going to close the door.
It's funny because I've got an answer to this. Or, more relevantly, John Stuart Mill, the utilitarian philosopher, had an answer to this, because it's specifically...
Strap in, kids.
Strap in, guys. This is specifically relates to what this 19th century philosopher said. And he says, it is better to be a human being dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. Or rather, better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a fool satisfied. That's his answer. And if the fool or the pig are of different opinions, it's because they only know their side of the question. They're not intellectual enough to realise that they're the ones that aren't better off because they're happy fools. However, he's a famous philosopher, and I don't agree with him one bit.
No. I mean, he is... I think intellectual and philosopher aren't necessarily the same thing, in my opinion. A lot of philosophy is just people saying things, and the rest of the world at the time weren't necessarily unintelligent, but they were peasants, so they weren't educated. They couldn't even read, so they didn't give a shit. They were the happy morons, and I think being a happy moron is better. You'll live a happier life. You'll probably live a bit longer.
Are we not happy morons? Aren't we happy morons?
I think we might be disgruntled morons. We're the worst of both parts.
Right, yeah.
I think happy intellectual is the best one, But I'd rather be.
That's not the part of the question,
exactly,
though,
exactly. I can't make the rules.
Come on.
So
Come on, you're intellectual enough to realise that isn't part of the question.
Yeah, but I'm too much of a moron to be able to change the question and reformulate the answer.
It's an interesting question. Would you rather be intellectual and sad, or just dumb and happy? I mean, there's more to life than knowing shit, right?
And if you are dumb, you're starting at the bottom, so you can only learn. Once you're if you're already an intellectual and you're unhappy, there's not really anywhere to go. Educating yourself is easier than making yourself happy.
That's true. And the problem with intellectuals is that, one, we established that people who are dumb have more fun, they're happier, right? So the intellectuals might not have as much fun because they're always fucking disgruntled, according to this question, and people, I don't know, people just don't like
snobs.
Yeah, I don't. Snobby kind of like more into. If you're more intellectual, then you. I think right, you might be more respected with your peers, but you might not. You know.
I think I literally got actually'd this week on one of the, and as soon as I read it, I was like, yes, thank you so much. I think it was a Death Stranding thing. So because I took the piss out of the girl who was sitting next to Hideo Kojima on the show, because she was really enthusiastic, and I was getting actually be like, actually in Japanese that just means yes, and it's, you know, part of the conversation. And if you were really going to actually me, you'd throw out a word which is called back channeling, which is a linguistic thing, which is when you say, oh yeah, right, cool, when people are talking to you to indicate that you're listening. So they didn't even actually me, and I've just actually there. So back channeling. Cool. It's back channeling, or back channel feedback. But I mean, if you're going, yeah, you're still a fangirl. Doesn't matter what the word is. Come on.
That's true. You're a bit enthusiastic. Hopefully that answers your first part of the question, Venticus Prime. Why would we rather be miserable and clever than just happy?
And the thing is, if you're a moron, you're not going to be intelligent enough to care, or to realise that there's anything different. Being the satisfied pig.
I would rather be the happy pig.
Yeah, rolling around in my own shit.
This satisfies Socrates, because Socrates was tried, like he went up again for trial and got convicted of corrupting the youth and got sentenced to death, which he happily, spoiler alert, he killed himself with what's that fucking hemlock. Yeah. Quite happily killed himself or whatever with hemlock because he was like, I mean, these are idiots. They're gonna try me, and you know,
the stupid can't understand.
So who wants to be Socrates?
Yeah, fuck that.
I don't want to be killing myself because some stupid people have tried me for corrupting the youth. Maybe that's what we do, corrupt the youth. Maybe. But I'm not. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not a youth anymore, so it doesn't matter.
There we go.
Anyway,
thanks for your question. Thanks for your first question, Venticus Prime. Now Henry's going to take away the second
the
part.
long one. Because I know you've missed my questions so much, here's another couple, and they're huge. So we're going to have to probably take this one slowly.
Strap in.
Hype shiny objects, flashy lights. Although many of us who watch your channel and the gaming community on YouTube are seasoned gamers, or at least I would assume, we do have to admit that many gamers are casual normies. At the very least, those people that AAA developers market to, which is fine. But one thing I see more in the casual normie crowd, and not so much in the seasoned gamer crowd, is the gotta have it now mentality. Maybe that's just me. With the fact that we can expect buggy shit shows at launch from AAA publishers anymore, what is the possibility, from your viewpoint, that such things could wind up being a blessing in disguise, in that it will teach the greater society the virtue of patience? So, the more casuals who demand things now, but you can't get it now, that will teach them patience.
Yeah, but how do you value that, right? I don't care if other people are patient or not. It doesn't bother me. I want my games to be ready on day one. Give me that anytime. I know what you're saying. In terms of society, it would be great. It'd be better if everyone was patient.
Yeah.
Right? I get that. But the price for that is having shitty games at launch. I'm sorry, I'm not willing to pay that price. Give me games ready at launch. Fuck them.
Yeah,
this man says that.
fair cop. This might be a bit antithetical to what we just said about choosing to be a happy moron instead of a disgruntled intellectual. But a lot of these people, I'm not going to say they're morons, but they won't educate themselves on the game. There's that looks really cool. I really want it now. I'm not going to look into the history of the company or say it's an EA game having dodgy releases in the past. So they're not going to learn to be patient.
Unless they catch one of our videos.
I mean,
and they learn the rule.
Educate the few.
I'm sure we've educated a few normies in our time.
Hopefully.
That's, part of a service, guys.
I mean, people call us normies and casuals all the time because we don't talk about this one obscure game that I know about as a commenter. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, we don't know who Magic the Gathering fucking... What are they called?
Oh, fucking Wizards of the Wind or something. I don't know. Wizards of the Coast. That's it.
Yeah. Circles of jerks. I don't know.
Knocking about in lighthouses or some shit.
We're normies because we don't know who the fuck that is. Fuck off. I'm already getting started. But the fucking Triggered Fanboy comment of the week is coming, and I'm going to unleash on that fucker. I know. Let's go.
Right, let's move on to the next part of the question. Going down the road of the blatant cash grab monetization, blatant cash grab microtransactions, we know that there are people who are fine with microtransactions and spending money on all kinds of bullshit, and AAA publishers are making games specifically for them. My question to you is, how many of the whales do you think spend money on all the in-game items, not out of going down the rabbit hole of, hey, I just wanted this one thing, but then there was this other, but instead as a sign of hubris and an act of showing off their own perceived wealth to others? So, people buying stuff not just to collect everything and unlock everything. It's like, look at me, I bought this thing. Aren't I the king of the castle?
Yeah.
As a sign of status, I guess.
Well, what they don't realise is that they're just making themselves out to be fools. It's
that's the whole thing of hubris, right? It comes back to.
I don't know. I've literally just googled the word because
I mean,
obviously you two are more intellectual than me to know what hubris is. Or
here we go. Excessive pride or self-confidence. Yeah, so it's like a step above arrogance. Arrogance to your own detriment, I think.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's worth a guess. How many whales do you think spend money on the game out of gun? Not
almost as many as the Japanese are hunting. No doubt.
I don't know. It depends what social circles they have, and I don't have a grasp on the percentage of whales who do it for status rather than whales who just have so much money that it doesn't matter to them. You imagine, right? If all games in the world cost you 20 pence and all microtransactions in the world cost you 1 pence. You wouldn't fucking care about microtransactions, and that's the world that they're living in, right? That's the problem. Yeah, to them it's nothing. So they look at a AAA game, 20p for them. 20p, yeah, I have 20p. Oh, they want 1 pence for a fucking a crosshair on card. Oh yeah, fucking 1 pence is fuck all. Have it, and that's the world they're living in. That's the problem, right? Because they've got so much more money than sense, essentially.
Obviously, we've made it abundantly clear numerous times. We don't like microtransactions in video games, but at the same time, I don't want to tell someone that you can't spend money on something. Like, yeah, I don't like it. I'd rather they weren't there because it is fucking up the industry in terms of the way publishers then use that practice against regular gamers who don't commit to.
Yeah, they fucking strip out parts of games, they paywall other sections, and they make it excessively grindy to incentivize microtransactions, and our games just end up shit.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the byproduct of it, and we have seen it happen. But I still don't like telling people what to do. I'm not going to be like, don't buy that because you'll ruin everything. If it's your fucking money, do it. I'd rather you didn't. Yeah, because it can mess shit up in the long run, because if everyone does it, that's when it's a problem. But fuck it, you're gonna do it anyway whether or not I tell you. So
that's true.
There's bigger things to give a shit about.
I mean, I'm slightly different. I would tell them to stop fucking buying microtransactions because you ruin it for the fucking lot of us.
Well, they totally are. But I'm like, this is exactly what's happening. But fuck it, like.
That's what you're saying. I would rather educate people and say, listen, this is the info. This is the repercussions of what you're doing. These games are getting shit because you're dumping this money in. You don't have to dump the money in. If you stop dumping money, the games would just be normal.
It's like, look at again, damage sounds a bit dramatic, but look at the way your choices are influencing the games industry. Are you sure you want to make that choice again?
They don't give a fuck. They've got more money than sense. They don't give a fuck, and they're casuals, and that's the problem.
Happy morons again.
Happy morons. I'd like to be a happy moron, sitting on a couple of $1 million and just throwing money at microtransactions.
Fortnite skins.
You wouldn't care two
trainers
fucks.
in NBA, whatever. Yeah.
You wouldn't give 2 fucks about microtransactions in NBA 2K if you had millions of pounds.
And it becomes like a feedback loop for the people who like make a career out of it, like YouTubers and Twitch streamers and that. You're like, I get paid. I built a career and a brand by spending money on microtransactions in this game. So now I'm paid, and that money will then go back into the game, which means I'll get more money because I get more viewers, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point.
There you go. Thanks for your questions, Venticus Prime. They were very... I mean, they always generate a good discussion to your questions. Thanks, dude. Metal Shark is next. Henry, have you tried using solutions like LG's Dual Play to solve your Strictly Come Bake Off issues? Directing some game audio through Bluetooth / the controller and letting the other half have TV audio. Meanwhile, both wearing glasses for player A and player B to watch different things on the same TV at once. It works by one person seeing 2 left eye images and the other seeing 2 right eye images of a 3D TV signal, and requires a TV matrix splicer to jam 2 HDMI signals side by side into the telly first. Would you get shot for suggesting something like this instead of just watching the shows? Do you know, have you an experience with Dual Play? Have you seen
no idea what this was, but reading that I'm like, well, that sounds like a cool, like, technical workaround to make it possible. But it's a whole lot of faff, and I'm willing
You've already got glasses. You don't need more glasses.
Exactly, and 3D glasses, it's one of the... I don't like 3D movies in the cinema, I just don't think they're worth the trouble. But having to wear glasses over the top of glasses is never comfy, although I do have a pair which like clip over the top, and they are the best thing in the world. They're so much better.
Yeah, this LG Dual Play technology has been around since 2012. I think I saw the trailer, and it just explained how you could play a split-screen game without actually being split-screen. Player one would have...
I think that would be a good use
that's
of
cool. But watching Celebrity Bake Off, because you literally got to zone out with your own audio, haven't you?
Yeah, like I might as well just go into another room with another TV then, because we're sitting on the sofa both listening to our own audio, like
both
in ears.
Glasses on, I mean, it's great technology.
Yeah, certainly. It certainly is a solution. I think it's a clever use of the 3D, like alternate wavelengths and stuff.
Yeah.
Would I get shot for suggesting it? No, luckily she's quite accommodating. And she'll listen up to a point when I'm explaining, like, oh, I've got these complaints about Gears 5, like, oh, the campaign's really, really good up until this point, and then it just tanks, and all of the interesting writing goes wrong. She listens to that, and then after a while, she's just like,
eyes glaze over.
I don't care.
Stop it now, Henry.
And I will carry on for another 15 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Save it for the video.
Yeah. And you can have your... I don't even hate Bake Off or Strictly that much. There's just nothing TV to me. And she'll watch it on like her laptop while I'm playing video games, so it balances out fairly nicely. It's not the worst thing in the world. And if I have to give up on an hour of killing aliens to make her happy, it's a sacrifice I think I'm willing to make.
Oh, you're such a noble
That's my cross to bear. Anyway, thanks for your question, Shark. It was a good one. And then, actually, this will fold into the next one because you've done a really good job of reminding us and Mr. Not That Rob Lowe to keep updating the question of the weekly question, which, in case you've only just tuned in, it's started with our favourite video game from the year of our birth, starting with obviously Gaz's year and starting with my year, and then +1 each time. So I started in 95, then we did 96 last week, and now I'll be doing 97 this week. And you started in 1980 and then to 81, and now you're doing 1982.
Yeah.
But the rule is you have to have played it yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of good games from 96, but I hadn't played all of them, so it had to narrow it right down. So 1997, there wasn't
I just read the Rob Lowe's question. You are keen, Mr. Shark. Yep, games from the second year of birth. For me, it's 81, and the only choice I have is Frogger, as I don't think I've played anything else from that year. That was my second choice last.
Yeah, Frogger's
was my
awesome.
second choice.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's legit. It's Frogger.
So
your year this year is 97.
Yeah, I'll be 97 for this one. And
when you were 2 going on 3.
Yeah. There's some good stuff in here, but most of them I haven't actually had hands-on playing. So there's GoldenEye. Obviously iconic, sure. I never played GoldenEye. Well, I never owned a N64. That was a question we had last week, where it was like, if you could go back in time and do a gaming moment, and I picked like playing Mario 64. I'd love to be there for GoldenEye at that time.
It's funny how you were brushing past it in that sentence. It was like, yeah, the first time I played GoldenEye, and it's just like, it sparked my brain. It's like, that's the obvious choice. There's no other game.
It was because I haven't played it.
That game so beats a lot of years, never mind just that year.
Yeah. But I was brushing through because there's so many to pick. GoldenEye, Final Fantasy VII, the original Fallout, Age of Empires, The Blade Runner game apparently is there, but I don't know how well received that was. Curse of Monkey Island, one of the Jedi Knight games. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's the Jedi Knight Dark Forces, apparently. Quake 2, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Tomb Raider 2. There's loads, but my pick, because it's the one I've played and I did love it, is Abe's Odyssey. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. Amazing game. Still need to get the remake. Yeah. And I'm really excited for the sequel.
Yeah,
whatever it's called, Sandstorm or something.
Yeah, a new one coming out soon, that's for sure. My year this week is 1982, which actually, interestingly enough, is the year that EA was formed.
Oh,
so not a great year for the industry. Not a great year for the industry. My game is Pole Position, which is a game
Please tell me that's a stripper game
by Namco. If only it was a stripper game I was playing when I was a youngster, but no. It's another racing game, I'm afraid. They were the easy ones when you're a kid, right?
Yeah, it was so easy. They got it right before they got their genre right before a lot of others did. Yeah, I think.
It's easy to do. I mean, obviously, we're talking probably about the arcade version, which I played the most. But I did have a Spectrum as well. I'm pretty sure I had it on a Specky at some point when I was like 5 or 6. But that's in a future conversation. But Pole Position is by far the most recognisable game that off the list from 1982 for me. Thanks for your question, and check back next week for 98 and 83. What our picks are for those weeks.
With regard to racing games, were you ever a guy who gets the wheel? Did you like having the real wheel?
Not at home. I play on the arcade wheel, but not at home.
Yeah, the wheel, like, it was a cool gimmick. Like, I never owned one, but I think obviously at the arcades, then like I think a family friend had one, and I tried it, and I was like, this is this is shit.
Yeah, it's like playing Mario Kart with like the wheel
tilt in it. Yeah.
On the Wii or whatever. It's like, no, man, that's not how you play Mario Kart. It's like this, isn't it?
Anyway, moving on to Black and Red Gaming, who is, I believe, is a new patron. So thank you so much for your support. Sir. You are very, very welcome. Hey guys, I'm a new member here, and I have a question which you may or may not have addressed in the past. If you had the ability to make your own game, either as a team or individually, what kind of game would that be? Like genre, name, mechanics, etc. So what would your dream game be if you could make it?
Okay, it's a fusion of many genres. It's an open world action RPG.
That describes every
single
major game.
I know that, but it's definitely an RPG at its core in terms of progression and leveling. Based in a big city, a bit like I'd say GTA 5, right? But every single building you can go in, and they're all operating businesses, and there's every single NPC has their own lives. And no, that's a part of the pitch that they use in a lot of these games, but they don't really, right? You walk up to anybody in the world, and they've all got a backstory, and they've all got, they're all interactable, and you can maybe take over that business if you want, and you're just like a real life simulator. It sounds boring as fuck, but I'm sure it'd be exciting in my head.
It's not about blowing up buildings and saving the world. It's
you could do that though. That's the point. Like, it's a complete sandbox of a game where you can do whatever the fuck you wanted. Be a businessman, be a crook. All right, people say you can do that in GTA, but not really, because you're confined by the missions and the storyline in the game. There's no storyline in this game. This game is make your own fucking world.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think I'd...
Bit like the Matrix. Essentially the Matrix, right?
Why is there been no really good Matrix games? There's so many. I'd love like pretty much take the Super Smash Bros. Formula and apply any license to that. Like, have a fighting game like that. Have a Marvel superheroes one. Have a Matrix one with Neo and Trinity and everyone. I'd love anything like that. I want more games like Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption 2 specifically, in terms of the level of detail, but like historically. So if you could take that with so much detail and the customization of changing your hat and everything, your jackets and stuff, to any time period, and it's what I want from Assassin's Creed, really. Forget about the sci-fi story with the higher beings or whatever they're called. Just give me the history and a real good sim of that, but in it with a proper story in there. I think the story's got to be there. But that attention to detail and the little things of like a horse testicle shrinking, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But it's an extra thing. And give me Assassin's Creed is good for this, having like pages and pages of encyclopedias for like every little item you uncover, because I love that shit. I won't even read half of them. I'll be like, oh, this is a cool dagger. Here's where it's from. Here's what it's made of, with items available at the time, and it was used by this tribe, and this tribe then took it, and they took over this tribe and shit. That would probably be it.
So those are our answers, apart from my second answer, which is any sort of decent space RPG. That's it. Full stop. Space RPG. Give it me right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Thanks for your question, Mr. Black and Red Gaming. Hope to see you again next week with another question. Mr. Hobo Boxer is next. Here's an odd one for you. I recently moved into a place with a couple of friends. One of them likes to smoke weed. The other friend had an uncle that smokes weed, and whenever they'd hang out, they would play Mortal Kombat together. He now realises he has a sort of a Pavlovian association of the smell with Mortal Kombat, thanks to our friend. So if you could humour me, please associate a drug to a video game.
Certainly an odd one.
If you like, it doesn't have to make sense. You could simply say anyone who plays Tetris is clearly a meth head.
Oh, I think Tetris is more for acid, probably than meth.
Yeah.
Well, so in terms of your concept of the Pavlovian association, I totally think that's the case. And I've got, it's not like a drug or anything. Me and one of my high school mates, we did Gears 2, I think it was, insane difficulty, full co-op. And we had like some junk food and snacks and whatever. And then we had this bottle of like Tesco's own brand Coke. And I remember exactly what that tastes like. And if I ever have it, I think of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not very nice. It's one of these really sugary ones where it coats your teeth and it's like, oh, this is horrible, but I've paid 99p for this bottle and I'm not letting that go to waste.
As someone who did partake in smoking weed when I was younger, and played a lot of games while I was doing it, I think it was the time of Super Mario Kart. I was always high playing Super Mario Kart as a teenager on the SNES. That is my association, Super Mario Kart and being stoned.
Well, my big one for me with regards to less legally friendly activities would be Rocket League. But I wouldn't say it was the smell so much, but it was just me and one of my mates and we were both really shit. I think I've explained this before. And one of my other mates who was really good. And we would just sit there giggling at how shit we were. And he was just getting frustrated because he was doing all the work.
So I would say anyone who plays, going on anyone who plays Tetris is clearly a meth head structure. Anyone who plays any EA game is clearly brain damaged. That's not a drug, but it works.
Well, you could say it's heroin because people are addicted to it, but doesn't do anything good for you. No one ever says good things about heroin. Mm-hmm. Like everyone knows there's good sides and bad sides to the drugs, but you never hear the good ones about heroin. Like you hear, weed will mellow you out a bit, and you'll like feel chill, but
make you paranoid.
Yeah, make you paranoid. Heroin,
give you the munchies.
You're just gonna die.
Yeah,
I think a game like
just ruin your life. And
exactly.
Break all your relationships.
I think a game like GTA is cocaine easily because it's high energy and it's crazy, like a cocaine rage of like just smashing stuff.
All right, after our our consumer not advertiser friendly question from Mr. Boxer. Thanks for demonetizing our podcast this week. Let's move on to the next question.
The next one was from Gaboris, but it was about the Steam thing, which we have already covered, so I just thought I'd leave it in there and say thanks for your question anyway about the Steam library beta.
Hopefully we answered that in greater detail than any question would have done.
Just rather than retreading old ground. So I got one from Durlock with Sergio in brackets. At Gaz, at Henry. What games are on your game store favoured one? Wish list. Top 5. No, I'm not going to give you one. I'm not going to give you one. That's like a gift.
Gift.
So I completely messed that sentence up. Just want to have an idea of your refined taste and expectations. I constantly have hundreds of games in my list. It's not like a physical list anyway. I just try and I think I write it down every so often on my phone, and then forget to update it, and then write a new one. One for a long time was Hellblade, and I recently got it and played it and loved it. So that was a big one. I was really happy to to get onto, especially because there was a bit of a lull in releases, so I made the most of that.
This is so relevant. I'm sorry to cut across you there. I've just received an email. I was just going to go look at my Steam wishlist, but I've just received an email saying that Disco Elysium has just got a launch date as October the 15th, and that is one that's going top of my wish list because I played that AGX last year, and I'm highly anticipating it's an RPG, and it's got such a weird aesthetic. It's a crazy kind of it's really, really highly anticipated by me, that's for sure. Disco Elysium, man. Got some free bloody promotion there from me. But yeah, 15th of October, that will be available. That's cool. Hopefully we can get
October just got even busier then.
Yeah. So I would say I don't really put stuff on a wish list on Steam. I just don't. I just like whenever the stuff comes out, I play them. Maybe I should. I was thinking about doing that because there's so many games over the last week or two that have come out that I want to play, and I don't want to forget that I want to play them. So maybe a list.
And that was the whole thing which we covered earlier in the week of Steam's new update, which has shafted some of the smaller indie teams because their games aren't getting wishlisted and they rely on it.
Yeah, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord top of my wish list on Steam, and you know that is genuinely the one that I was going to say if I hadn't have read this wish list, and that is about it. Everything else is just stuff that I'm waiting for to go cheap, but I'm probably uninterested anyway.
A lot of what I would consider my wish list is usually like older games that I've missed or that I haven't had time to go to, as opposed to upcoming releases, because I feel like they're in their own space in my head, like in their own box for like, oh, Cyberpunk, Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, Jedi Fallen Order. They're like, yeah, I'm anticipating them because they're coming out, but wish list is more like my miss list, I think. Personally.
I get what you mean. I generally don't look back when it comes to games though. I'm always going for the new ones because having worked on a gaming channel for like 2 or 3 years, it's like I don't have time to revisit the old games. I've done it in the past, but I don't have enough hours in the day to be able to do that, unfortunately. If my life just constituted of sitting in my bedroom playing games for 8 hours a day, it would be fine. You know, I would wish list and go through a back catalogue, but I just don't have that luxury, unfortunately. So hopefully that answers your question, Mr. Sergio. And next up, you read that one, didn't you?
Yeah, Europe.
Forisek, Shag, Marry, Kill. Okay, this is a slightly unconventional one. The Outer Worlds, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, or Cyberpunk 2077. No characters. Just the
3 games that aren't out yet, so we don't know who's in them. 3 big RPGs, so there's going to be hundreds of characters in them.
Switch the last one with something similar if it's too simple. Yeah, if Cyberpunk is too much of an obvious answer. I mean, are we having to?
I don't want to
perform sexual acts with software essentially, or are we going to choose a character from the games which we don't really know a lot about?
Yeah,
it's a difficult question to answer.
My instinct is based on the not genre, perhaps is the wrong word, but the fact. So I'd say probably kill the Outer Worlds. Like ex-female, blank slate female from the Outer Worlds, mainly just because I think the other ones would be more my taste. Cyberpunk, that's going to be the Shag, right? Because they're all going to have this cyberpunk aesthetic, so they're all going to be like a little bit alternative, and they can replace bits of them, so they're going to be able to do certain things that perhaps a conventional person might not be able to.
You're thinking kinky sexual things now.
Because I don't necessarily, because if it sucks,
literally,
if it does that, I can maybe marry her. But if it's something I'm not into, I don't want to be married to that for life and have to do that all the time. No thanks. But a one night stand with a half robot lady with like a pink mohawk or something, that could be pretty dope. And then I think marry the Vampire Masquerade's Bloodlines character, who will presumably be a vampire, because she
definitely sucks.
Hey, nice. Well, I'm hoping because she's a vampire, she's probably going to have been living for hundreds of years. And I know there's different like classes of vampire and different like levels of society. So I'd want one from like reasonably high society, not super high, because then they're going to have no time for a peasant like me. But if I get one who's, you know, at least a lady something, you know, or, you know, borderline royalty but not quite, then they've got a shitload of money and probably a big old manor house in Transylvania. And I can be
live off her like some sort of,
She can be the parasite sucking my blood and I'll be like,
And other
yeah,
things.
you're a fit. Oh, heck, yep. I mean,
And keep
the
you,
rights themselves.
turn you into a vampire because she's your wife. Keep you, and then you got immortality. Then
And she's gonna be a fucking.
That's a good answer.
She's gonna be a sexy goth bitch as well, so it's gonna be awesome.
that's it. That's a good answer to a tricky question. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I think I don't really have an answer, but that was legit. Well done.
Okay, and now better slide that away, otherwise I'm going to spoil the trigger comment for myself. But before we get to that, we have one final question from Earthworm Ben. Only a quickie today, but how can Peggy, EA, the ESA, etc., disagree with the church saying loot boxes are morally wrong? The church have come out and said, "Oh, I didn't know that."
Yeah.
I mean, they're not saying they are the devil. Or some stupid religion's crap. Or some stupid religious crap, but just giving a realistic look at the common day problem.
Yeah.
I mean,
how can they disagree with the church saying they're morally wrong? Because they don't care about what's morally right or not. They only care about money. It's a big corporation sitting there making tons of money off loot boxes. They don't care what's moral and what isn't. They only care about what makes money, which is why they come out with all this shit saying, "Oh, loot boxes are fine." They not morally. They don't mean they're morally fine. They're fine because they're making money out of them. And there's parallels that people always draw in our comments when we cover it about the tobacco industry and about exactly the same defenses that tobacco industry corporations were putting up towards tobacco when they were looking at regulating and that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing. They don't care whether it kills people or whether it gives people lung cancer. They just care about the money, and they will throw money into whatever organization lobbies and defends against their right to make all that money. So morally, I mean, it's not even in the same question as them. It's not even a concern to them because they're just morally bankrupt.
And I think they've probably got a bit of bitterness towards the church because the church makes a staggering amount of money.
Yeah, talking about what's moral and what
right,
isn't.
Yeah,
let's not get into that.
That's a whole separate question. Which
we're going to alienate loads of religious people if we start talking about religion.
Well, but I suppose
I would anyway.
Yeah, right. I suppose it's kind of a wider question anyway. If the church disagrees with it, does it really matter? If you're a religious person and your religion says, or some, a practitioner of it or a holy person says they disagree with it, that will affect you. But if there's no one religious as the higher up of the ESA or PEGI or whatever, they're not going to give a shit.
No.
If they've got, Mr. J. Christ working at the company, he's probably going to be like, oh shit, all right, maybe we should think about it. But he's not. No. Because chances are, if you're a deeply religious person, you should be quite generous and charitable. A lot of the good things about religion promotes that sort of stuff. And you're not going to be working for a company like that.
There you go. Well, I mean, hopefully that answers your question, Mr. Earthworm Ben. And thanks everybody for your questions this week. A good crop.
Good.
Today.
Some philosophical debate among there.
Head over to the Patreon Discord and leave your comments for next week's podcast in the hashtag AskGaz channel, because that's where we crop them from. Anyway, it's time to move on to the YouTube comments. And first up, the Triggered Fanboy comments of the week. This week, the Triggered Fanboy comment of the week comes on the video we did about Steam.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and we were talking about the independent developers who felt the brunt of the latest algorithm changes on Steam, where the normal amount of they have an average amount of wish lists or people wishlisting their games over any course of any day had dropped severely due to the new algorithm, which was supposed to promote their games and see an increase in the amount of people wishlisting their games. So it didn't work out as they were. So they were rightfully voicing a grievance with the fact that, hey, this is supposed to be helping us, and it's totally crippled us because we make a lot of money off people who wishlist our games and end up buying them. Anyway, this commenter, Psyched SE, comments. He's obviously a Steam fanboy, because fanboy, that's the fanboy part. It's a beta! Fucking morons. I hate you all. These videos are nothing more than arsehole clickbait titles with huge outrage outrage over nothing. Please allow them time to fix things before making videos. Morons.
Wow, that's a lot of aggression.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, without even taking anything we've said in the video or any of the issues in the video in context at all.
It doesn't matter if it's a beta, because these people are still saying there's... If an issue is still an issue, and you can say, yeah, it's going to be fixed. Fair enough, but the issue's still fucking there.
Yeah.
It doesn't eliminate the issue.
What are you trying to push here, right? It's trying to say that whenever you've got a problem with something, don't ever criticize or don't ever call them out, because you've not allowed them time to fix it. That's not how the world works. Yeah, it's in beta. I get that. But that's the part of our service, right? We raise awareness of what people are having issues with. If we didn't voice our concerns or voice our opinions about things we didn't like, nothing would ever get fixed. That's just how it is, because they'd think, oh, everybody likes this, it's fine. Yeah. Or, we're not feeling the effects of it. The reason we voice our opinions about things, or we cover these topics, which wasn't even our opinion anyway, all we did was, what he's doing is associating our video with the outrage, right? We don't give our opinion in that video much at all, and we're quite balanced in essence. Saying that people are upset over an algorithm change doesn't mean that we're upset, doesn't mean that we're outraged. We are not outraged. It wasn't clickbait at all. I was very careful with quote marks. People, what was the video titled? It's a catastrophe, and it's killing gaming. Those were quotes, because I was quoting somebody else. Coming here calling it as a moron because you don't understand what is our outrage and what other people are upset about. Can't distinguish between those two things, and you're calling us morons and calling it clickbait, which it obviously wasn't. It was quite on the nose. Come on.
I always love the complaints about clickbait, because you've clicked. Like, you've given us the view and you're commenting to drive engagement.
Even if it is clickbait, it fucking worked. So fuck you, Mr. Psycho, more like. Psyched SE.
Oh, this is just outrage, it's only a beta.
With huge outrage over nothing. It's not outrage. It's not even outrage. All it is people making complaints, okay? You're characterizing this as some sort of outrage. It's not outrage. If you don't get upset about this, nobody's upset.
He's more outraged than we ever were in the video. And he must, we made a point at the end of the video to say we're not bashing on Steam here. It's just the developers have a problem and we're voicing their problem.
The amount of people on that video who just jumped to Steam's defense and just totally slated independent developers was stark. It was so surprising. It really
reeks of the tone of, just make a good game then.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
It's ridiculous. But I've got one here which is quite balanced in kind of a different way, from Goblin Slayer on that video. Steam can't satisfy the developers and the Epic Game Store can't satisfy customers. And I think that's a good equation for what's happening.
That's a good observation.
And then there's GOG, who's doing both. They're just not quite as big as
popular
as they should be.
Don't get enough.
It's the DRM thing. It's a good thing, but unfortunately it's restrictive for what they can put on the store.
Marco Shark 40 on the theme of people just just fanboys of Steam, just attacking anybody who has anything slightly critical to say about Steam. Very, relevant critical things, just attacking them, right? Okay. He drops a timestamp, 5 minutes and 8. Bro, your wishlist graph was going down before the update. Don't use that shit as a way to shift blame from your decreasing interest game. No, it wasn't. Maybe one was, like, by 1 day, a little bit. But the second graph we had was fucking, like, September the 11th was really high. September the 12th, like a third the numbers. So, I mean, I don't get these people. I mean, just jumping in, wading in, just attacking people because they maybe raised a slight concern with the tweaked algorithm on Steam. Your precious Steam. God, wow. Crazy. I don't get it.
Stupid.
Just don't get this fanboy mentality at all.
So I've got numerous ones here that are on the same line, but I'll just give you one. And I did a Death Stranding breakdown, and I have no excuse either, but I misspoke and got my coasts backwards with saying Washington was on the West Coast and the Pacific was on the East. And I could say, oh, it was an editing error or whatever. No, I just misspoke. And it's not like I don't know that. I got it wrong by accident. Yeah,
hands up, make a mistake.
There were some comments that were like, oh, you fucking dumb fuck, whatever.
Dumb English moron.
This one's my favourite. So, Pacific on the East, huh? Your European is showing, which I thought was quite fun.
Yeah.
I mean, fair cop, got it wrong.
I misspeak at least 10 times a minute. Right,
all
on the podcast. I mean, all right, that is a bit of a slip saying that. Like one, I mean, that of all the
because there's no way to. It's not you've just interpreted something the wrong. Yeah. It's factually incorrect.
Yeah, you just set the wrong fucking direction, didn't you?
Yeah,
East, west. I mean, it's all the same. When you depends where you are, right? East is west if you're on the fucking other side.
If you go east for long enough, you'll end up coming around on the west side.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
but when you're reading like 1,500 words, like constantly with no real breaks other than like a pause for breath, you're gonna slip up. It's not easy.
I'd rather be happy moron than someone who can read properly. Right, Zara on the Steam video made a decent comment, right, and this deserves credit. The indie game scene is only as big as it is thanks to Steam, which is very relevant, right?
Yes.
These indie developers who are complaining about Steam are complaining about, without this platform Steam, they wouldn't be as popular. The indie game scene wouldn't be as big as it is. Granted, you've got to give them that. However, it still doesn't disallow them to criticize and to raise grievances with how it works, right? They're still allowed to question how they're doing things and to ask, if not complain, about things that are going wrong for them. Just voice their opinion. People are allowed their opinions on the internet.
No, they're not. Where'd you get that idea from? No, but yeah, they complaining because they want it to be better, not because they want it to die. It's not like they're trying to shut down Steam. I can't believe this is the problem.
Steam sucks. Let's cancel Steam.
Yeah, right. It's this thing isn't very good. I love what you do. You couldn't be better. I want you to be better.
This is catastrophic for us. It's like you're not saying Steam shit.
No.
Like you're killing indie games. It's just hyperbolic speak in order to get people to pay attention.
Exactly. Now I did find a really good one which was a potential candidate for triggered fanboy comment, but I don't think it was quite as. It was certainly fanboy, but it was just like snide. It wasn't quite triggered, but I can't seem to find it in the video, and it was on the Death Stranding one. But I've got another one which I appreciate, which is from BX Legendary. Can we please stop using the toenail clip? Fuck.
On the Death Stranding when he's pulling the
because
toenail.
He yanks his toenail off. And I replied to him with this. That's exactly why I keep using it, because it's really horrible. And I even cut it with Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, like retching, like what? Because it's really horrible. But I'm going to keep using it.
There you go.
Same with the baby when he's in his throat and he pulls out his thumb. It's really weird, but I didn't use it in that one, I don't think. But yeah, it's fun to use.
Yeah, got him to comment.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a couple others with saying the fucking toenail. Wow.
All right, Cape Fury on last week's podcast. Your Aussie accent was so bad, mate.
Well, I like that he said mate, because he could be.
Aussie accent is so bad, mate.
Fucking,
it is bad. I don't practice enough. My fucking Scouse accent's on the fucking nose, though, so.
Well, do it.
Rah.
Do it.
You want me to speak like a Scouser, do you?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure on the nose is quite right there.
On the nose, mate? What are you on about?
I don't think you're fucking swearing enough, mate.
Nah, mate. Get out, mate. Nah, mate.
Well, fucking Gerard. I hope, please, if there are any Scousers watching, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry that you're Scouse. Bad luck, but I'm not sorry for that impression.
Ouch.
Right, I'm still looking for this this other comment, because it really made my day, but it turns out there's more comments on this video than I once thought. But I've reached the bottom now, so let's see if I can jump and find it. Where are you? Come on. There it is. Found it. From Deep Space Nine. Yep. This is on Death Stranding video again, just to be clear. Yep, I will be skipping Pretty Good Gaming's review of Death Stranding. The condescending tone gives away how much they hate it before even playing it. Now, fanboy, tick. but he's not quite triggered. He's just bitter and rather a little upset. But
condescending tone, maybe.
Why would I make a breakdown, a brief 15-minute breakdown of a nearly 50-minute video of a game I hate?
Yeah.
Spend all day on it, watching it, making notes, writing it.
It was that first 10 seconds, it's supposed to be gameplay, or if you can call that gameplay, whatever this is.
Yeah.
It was
fucking funny.
Just lighten up in it, Mr. fucking Deep Space Nine.
If you did make it to the end of the video, you'll know how you'll realise that I said I really like the look of all the survival mechanics and having to.
People are so easily triggered.
Take care of your shoes and all that shit.
So easily triggered. On the plus side, we've got Mr. Brimstone commenting on last week's podcast. Thank you. I'm utterly tired of watching podcasts where everybody acts like everything is great and awesome while companies are trying to rip off people with microtransactions at every corner. You guys are dealing with it with the disgust it deserves, and I appreciate it.
Are we really the only ones who are doing that?
Only the podcast he's watching, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have a bit of recognition for the service that we give to the community.
That we provide.
Yeah.
I clocked this one. I think this was on last week's podcast as well. From WD40, which is an excellent username. When you like the video before it even starts playing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're loyal.
Squad.
I'm not sure I'd recommend it because I want you to, make an informed opinion. But hey, it's a
No. I mean, you can be as informed as you want, but you know what you're getting,
baby.
PGG video is worthy of a like, surely.
Of course, goes without saying.
Okay, I think it's my last one now. Zeus Anoxia is got quite close to the bone here for me. Is there a patron tier to support sending Gareth back to second grade and helping him learn how to speak English like a human being? Or is it a genuine medical condition? In which case, I apologise for being insensitive. I don't got any cream for those burns, man.
And he's covered his ass. In case you have a medical disability, didn't mean it. Sorry.
What? I need to go back to second grade. I'm sorry. We don't do second grade in the UK. It's like third. What even is it? I don't even know.
It was just year 2, innit?
Year 2.
Well, I don't know how they line up.
I probably need to go back to year 2 to learn what year 2 is. But yeah. I don't talk like a human being. A genuine medical condition. Maybe thinks I've got some sort of... Maybe I've got some sort of brain disorder.
Well, you are Welsh, so that's it's there by default.
What is this?
See, I could have
pick on Gaz time.
I could have been nice there and said, "Well, you are Welsh, so English isn't actually your first language." But no, I went for the
wow.
the
I'm going to go and cry in a corner for a while now.
No, that's not how it works on the internet. You go on Twitter and you don't at anyone you complain about. Yeah, you vent. Yeah,
I just vent.
Just scream into the void.
Wow.
Now I don't have any good ready to go, but I can always go find some because this Death Stranding one was really just perfect for it. Well, for instance, there were some people saying, "Yeah, I'm really keen on this. Big into what Kojima does. I love it." And then I've also got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's basically doesn't quite say it, but 5 pretty much in a row that all say the word boring. So this gameplay has divided people. That's for sure.
Well, maybe it's the content we put out. We've been very skeptical towards Death Stranding, to put it mildly. We're like, just come on, show us a little bit more, Hideo, and in a tone, like whether it's condescending or not, the tone's always a bit skeptical, right?
We take
Death
the piss
video,
out of everything.
Which means anyone who happens across our video and sees the tone at which we're taking with this game, they'd be more likely to subscribe and watch more Death Stranding because they feel the same way about the game as we do, which is why we perhaps got a higher percentage of people saying it's boring on our videos than normally would. That's my summation of it. Otherwise, I mean, if you go to a Young Ye video and you look at his audience's reaction to the gameplay, they won't be saying boring, that's for sure, because he's obviously way in favour of that game. I know he only says pretty much nice things from what I gather. One
of my favourite things about the comments on this is I say the word homo demons, because that's what Troy Baker is. That's his group of people. They're called the Homo Demons, and 3 different people commented like essentially Homo Demons, and like the group of villains is called Homo Demons, LMAO, and another one. Did he say Homo Demons? You don't want to be caught by them. The Homo Demons. Did I hear that right? I'm like, fucking come on.
You don't. I mean, Homo just means
human.
The human, right?
Yeah.
Homo sapiens is what we are.
Yeah,
That means you're all gay. You're Homo sapien.
It's like talking about second grade humor.
Yeah, like if that's what you find funny, all right. But it's just what they're called, and they're human demons.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I'd laugh at that.
It is a bit. It does sound a bit daft. But then again, Kojima is really bad at naming stuff. Mr. Die Hard Man and Heart Man and all that shit.
Mr. Hard On Man. Anyway, on that note, that concludes our podcast number 32. Thanks for sticking with us. Remember to go over to Patreon and support the content if you do want access to the podcast next week 2 days early. Thanks for watching this week. Thanks for participating in the comments, and I do hope you get featured next week. And don't just try and make a triggered fanboy comment just to try and get me to, because I can smell you out, the genuine ones from the shitty ones. So don't even bother. And on that note, from Henry and I, see you again next time. Bye for now.